Anybody's first time at community yoga? There's a few, yeah. Great, great. A great thing that's happening here. A new way of thinking about how we organize ourselves. A new way of thinking about how we deliver services, how we connect, and how yoga can help to create a ripple effect out into the world. So it's an honor to teach here, and certainly an honor to have all of you here. I was realizing that I haven't spoken about the yamas and niyamas for a long time, and they're kind of foundational. In fact, they are the foundational practice of the 8 limbs of yoga, as that model was organized by Patanjali a couple thousand years ago. And so yamas and niyamas are the ethical principles of yoga. You know, if you see corruption in governments, for example, or in the way people do business. And I think sometimes that there's a sense that, well, if they're doing it, then it's okay to cheat in some ways, you know? There's a sense that gets modeled from these public figures down into the community, and then community people feel okay. But fortunately, there's another wave that pushes against that. And I like to call this the wave of the heart chakra, because there's something that's guiding us to a higher level of being, a higher level of awareness. And that force is unstoppable. It's a force of what the yogis might call Dharma. And it's a force that guides us no matter how bad things get, reminds us that optimism is something that will always push us forward, will always guide us forward in the right direction. So the yamas have to do with social integration, how we deal with the way we are in the world, and the niyamas have to do with personal integration, how do we deal with our own personal self, how do we ethically approach our personal lives. Within the yamas, there's 5 principles, and within the niyamas, there's 5 principles. So if we break them up into those components, then we lose the essence of it, because actually they're a system. And part of the problem of why we have so many problems in the world is because we like to reduce things and break things up into its components. With the yamas, if we keep it, if we hold it as a system, then we can understand it a lot better. And we can understand the complexity of it, we can understand how it applies to our life, and we can understand how it applies to the larger world and why it's relevant. So the central principle of the yamas is Brahmacharya. The proper translation of Brahmacharya is seeing everything as a manifestation of the ocean of Brahma. Brahma means oneness. Everything is a manifestation of oneness, or consciousness, the consciousness principle. And if that is the case, then Brahmacharya becomes the sun, and the other 4 principles turn into a solar system around that central principle. Because if everything is a drop from the ocean of Brahma, then I want to approach everything with a sense of kindness, of non-harming, ahimsa. I want to approach everything with a sense of responsibility and not taking from it, asteya. I want to approach everything with a sense of honesty, satya. And I want to approach everything with a sense of sustainability, aparigraha. So everything orbits around that central principle, and if we can understand it as a system, it makes a lot more sense in our lives personally. It makes a lot more sense out there in the larger world. Then I can understand how to deal with everything that I encounter. It doesn't mean that everything is happy and good, but it's all God is a much more appropriate expression in terms of Brahmacharya. It's all an expression, and some things really suck because that gives you an opportunity to take action, to take right action in the world. Dharma is the Sanskrit word. At least what can I do to take some steps? What do I feel passionate about, and what can I do to take some steps towards Dharma? You know, and that's it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about Dharma always being victorious. Always, you know. In other words, that we get tripped up on certain things, but if we do the right thing in our life, then we'll always come out with a sense, it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if we're wealthy or we're healthy or any of that. But what matters is we'll always come out with a sense of grounded serenity if we're dharmic. It will always give us that place of moving forward with clarity. And that's why I like to say the yamas and niyamas are mental health strategy, because our mental health will feel very, very calm if we can follow those principles and really uphold them with a sense of passion and purpose and commitment.